But going on to the next topic, talking about Oklahoma City Thunder, who have now lost they've lost their 8th game coming out of the All-Star break. You know, one of the teams that people were saying that could have been arguably, we said it on here too, that they could have been the team to knock out Golden State. And they haven't exactly done that for us. You know, they haven't exactly kept true to that. Yeah, they kind of been getting beat pretty badly. They got worked by the Golden State like last week, I think. It was last week, in their rematch. And it seems as though that Oklahoma City just can't hold on to a fourth quarter lead if their lives depended on it. Like it seems that every single time going down in the fourth quarter, I have to just assume that Oklahoma City's going to lose because they have the lead. Because it's legit that bad. Because going into this game with San Antonio, Oklahoma City has been like what it seems to be the San Antonio Spurs kryptonite. But Oklahoma City just can't ever finish a game. They were leading into the game going against San Antonio. They lost it 85-93. And you look at it, and Kevin Durant, I mean, he balled. He had 28 points. He had 8 assists. Russell Westbrook, though, my man had 17 points, 9 turnovers, 7 assists. And you're looking at it, and you're just like, what the heck is wrong with Oklahoma City? They have all this talent. Why can't they finish games? And you're wondering what's wrong with them. Like, I actually went back and I was just researching all their fourth quarters, how they play in the fourth quarter. Against the Timberwolves, they lost to the Timberwolves before they lost to the Spurs. Against
Timberwolves. I'm looking at the Timberwolves.
They lost the fourth quarter 30-23. It's just against the Spurs, they lost it 17-27. Against the Warriors, they lost it 39-23. You just can't win if other teams are whooping you this badly in the fourth quarter. I don't get it. And you have Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook who can create offense by themselves. And you're telling me they're both on the same team and you can't find points in the fourth quarter? It doesn't make any sense. So y'all tell me, what do you all think is wrong with the Oklahoma City Thunder? Rashad, what's up with you? What do you think is wrong with them?
It's time for a makeover. That's what's wrong with them. This is a team that can't finish games off together. And as we see, when you have 2 megastars is what they have, 2 blockbuster players who you don't know who's getting the ball at the end of the night anymore. You don't know who's going to be Westbrook doing ISO. You don't know Durant doing ISO. I mean, Durant more so just take those reckless threes at times where he just feels like as soon as I touch the ball, I'm shooting it. But you can see the ball get stuck in one spot when it comes to the fourth quarter, and they get away from their game. Because if you look at the rest of the game, how the scoring goes between each team, and it comes to that fourth quarter down the stretch where it comes to ISO ball, it's like they completely forget what has them winning. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of how like our intramural was, Brendan.
You just get kind of
how we forget what has us winning, and we go away from it. That's what the Thunder do. So I feel like this, like I said earlier, this team is the best for the Warriors. It's not anymore. I don't even see them making it that far in the playoffs anymore. This is a team that's struggling. Like, you can't lose to the Timberwolves. I mean the Warriors lost to the Lakers. Like you can't blow leads like that. Like they've been doing.
And that's the main issue. The fact they're blowing these leads. Yeah. They're blowing leads. It's not about, it is about the losses coming. You're 4-8 coming out of the All-Star break. I mean, why? You're too talented to be 4-8 coming out of the
Exactly.
But
I mean, granted, they played some tough teams in this stretch. But at the same time, they're losing to teams they shouldn't lose to.
Like, they had a lead on Golden. They had a 10-point lead on Golden State in the fourth quarter. It wasn't like it was the start of the fourth quarter. They had in the fourth quarter. It was like 8 minutes left to go, and they had a 10-point lead. I mean, I know against Golden State that's nothing, but against Oklahoma City, you have to think that they would be at least be able to create offense, because at least with 8 minutes left to go in the game, you're assuming the starters are back in the game, and you want to tell me you couldn't manifest any.
Why can't you do what was working for you? Like, you know how to score in the team, and it's clear to see that. But I don't know what's wrong. Right, I just think a makeover.
Carla, what do you think?
Definitely, I feel like the lack of the bench, like the lack of presence on the bench, hurts them so much more than we expect. Because without them having real people who can like take hold of the team and get those points for them, they then have to put back in Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook to carry the team some more, and then them two. They'll get lost at the end of the game and feel like, oh, maybe you should go ahead and get the score. And they're like, nah. I think I'll take it. And then it's just like Rashad was saying, who's gonna get these points? And then they be looking kind of lost. So at times, I feel like they be looking so crispy. They be looking to the point where they're gonna just whoop this team, and then fourth quarter comes, they just stand around looking lost. They can't make shots. They don't be looking productive as they can. I feel like their morale drops by the time the fourth quarter comes because they don't have people on the bench to hold them at these, to keep them at these leads sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I can understand that too because, I mean, your bench is essentially who you're supposed to trust with your lead. Normally, you go to your bench when you believe, because every team has that point in time where they're like, okay, we're going to rest so-and-so. Like Steph Curry sits at the beginning of every fourth quarter and comes back in at about the 6 to 8 minute mark.
If needed.
Yeah, if needed. You know what I'm saying? He always sits out for about a good 8 or a good 6 to 4 minutes in the fourth quarter. And depending on the team they're playing, sometimes they bring him back a little bit earlier or they'll keep him out just a little bit longer just to see if the bench can keep it going and hold on. But when you don't have that depth, it puts a lot more on your stars. And I don't know if it's just that these guys fizzle out at the end of the game, but sometimes it just seems as though not that they fizzle out, but they just take terrible shots.
Like the worst, bro. Like, the worst of shots.
I saw Russell Westbrook going against Tim Duncan when they played, I think it was Saturday night. And I'm watching it on my phone. And I'm seeing Russell Westbrook just take the ball and run directly at Tim Duncan. I'm like, why? Like, I understand Russell Westbrook is arguably the most athletic player in the league right now. But this man legit ran at Tim Duncan and just jumped into him and got blocked. And I was like, huh? I was like, that was the best thing y'all could come up with. I know sometimes it works, it creates a foul, but Tim Duncan is arguably one of the best rim protectors in the game right now. And he just ran at him. Like, I wish I could really demonstrate this for y'all. Like, he honestly darted at him.
Like he thought he was going to beat him.
He didn't throw up a floater or anything. He just ran at him and got blocked. Like, I was just like, what was that? And that's like, it's honestly those kind of things that they end up with. And then Russell Westbrook will have a late game turnovers that just kill you in the fourth quarter, like 9 turnovers. He had more turnovers than assists. He had 7 assists, 9 turnovers, and the man had 19 points. Like,
the team is too talented to be playing the way they're doing.
Yeah, and it makes no sense. I'd sit there and I watch it. And I feel like we always say everybody said the same thing when Scott Brooks was the coach. We all said their offense is too stagnant, revolves around 2 stars. Now Billy Donovan came in from the college level. Everybody's supposed to say he's the offensive guru. I'm supposed to fix this team. No, they took a step back because they got worse on offense and defense. Scott Brooks at least had them in the top 10 in defensive efficiency each year. Or actually, he had them as a top 3 team in defensive efficiency. This team is horrible defensively now. Halftime they can't lock up teams when it matters. They just let teams go on these runs, and it's like it wouldn't hurt you as bad if you can't score if you could lock up sometimes. Sometimes I've seen like when they played the Warriors and Steph Curry hit that deep bomb of a 3. Klay Thompson got some easy backdoor layups in that overtime and in the fourth quarter. I was just like, you can't give that up. I mean, you got Andre Roberson on the court who's a defensive specialist, and he's getting toasted on backdoor cuts. I'm like, how does that even? You're limiting. He limits your offense because everybody just pretty much sags whoever's guarding him into the paint. So you limit your offense by having him on the court. But then it's like on defense, I'm like, you're not getting the benefits of having him out there. So I don't understand it.
I feel like some of the lack of defense as well is hurting that offense because at points they'll be like, these people keep scoring. We can't stop them. Yeah. They're gonna force shots.
Yeah, and you're right, because when you play great defense, it normally leads into transition baskets and transition opportunities. And Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant had the most transition points in the league, but imagine if they actually played great defense. Like, if they played great defense. I never forget when Miami was when they had the whole Miami thing going. LeBron and Dwayne Wade killed people in transition, and that's because their defense was so strapped in Miami. Their defense was locked down, and when teams were forced to take those long threes and they were missing, that normally results in long rebounds and people are gone. But Oklahoma City, when you're not guarding people at the time, it's going to result in open threes. It's going to result in open layups. And then you got to keep going up against half-court sets. And the Spurs are the best defensive team. Like, the Spurs have they're the best defensive team. And they've held 19 or 20 teams under 85 or to 85 points and lower this season. The Thunder were exactly at 85 points. That's crazy. 85. Some teams can't have a whole team under 100. 85 points. That's crazy.
I mean, if you think about it, that's also what hurts the Thunder too, because when they take bad shot selections like that, nobody's in position to get back.
Yeah.
Because I mean, a lot of their shots are quick in the shot clock too, It'd be quick, ugly threes, long rebound, and that's how teams go on runs against the Thunder because their bad shots lead to long rebounds, long kickouts too, which teams are actually capitalizing their transition runs.
Exactly.
So you're looking at it like when they play slower. I mean, because you look at that team, you assume it's a faster paced team, but honestly, when they play a little slower and they control the tempo and stuff like that themselves, it gives better shot selection, better chance to return on defense. So that's what I'm looking at it now. Like, was it really Scott Brooks, or is it this team?
Yeah, it's honestly a question I don't even know how to answer, to be honest, because I don't
know, nobody do, man.
Because we thought everybody assumed it was Scott Brooks. He got fired. Now you bring in Billy Donovan, and honestly, I thought Mark Jackson was going to be the hire because I mean
nobody wants to give my man some love, like.
Yeah, I honestly don't even know, man. Like, I honestly thought it was going to be Mark Jackson, but then he didn't get the job, and I thought you're going to bring in a guy like Tom Thibodeau, who I don't know. Because I guess they wanted to fix the offense, so they brought in an offensive coach. But it just hasn't.
They need some help.
You fire an offensive coach and bring in another offensive coach. It doesn't.
Scott Brooks was more so he was a defensive coach. He was more so a defensive coach. Yeah, he was a more defensive coach. Tom Thibodeau was strictly defense. He was a pure defensive coach. Mark Jackson was neutral. Mark Jackson.
I mean, he had the offensive weapons to make him seem like an offensive coach.
Yeah, but he was a neutral coach though. So yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know. The Thunder, because I hate saying that Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant can't play together because they're so talented. And when they played fully healthy with one another, they got to the NBA Finals.
But
they've been in the Western Conference Finals. Yeah,
they had another star. I mean, he's not like he is now, but
yeah, exactly. But
it shows that.
But even without James Harden, they still made it to the Western Conference Finals, and that was without Serge Ibaka being fully healthy. They still got there to Western Conference. They lost to the Spurs.
They want to do it again.
And the Spurs won the championship that year.
Yeah, you did.
But I'm saying I don't even know because we've never seen them fully healthy. We've never gotten a chance to see them.
This season you kind of say they were. I mean, pretty much fully healthy.
No, this season they are. If they lose this season, that's why I think Kevin Durant's waiting to see how they play this season in the postseason to decide whether he wants to leave or not. Because
this is the best year they've had as a healthy team, as a complete team.
You know what I'm saying? And they got the weapons. There's no excuse because you have. I mean, their bench is probably the only place where you can look at. But they bring Enes Kanter off the bench along with Dion Waiters, and those are two guys that can put the basketball in the hoop. So you're sitting there, you're like, what's really the full-on excuse for this team? So I mean,
that bench is not Golden State or San Antonio either.
But that's the thing. But not everybody's bench can be Golden State or San Antonio. The Cleveland Cavaliers don't got to. I mean, they're in the Eastern Conference, but Cleveland at least won 2 games against Golden State last season.
Yeah,
with their bench and LeBron James. That's essentially what it was. It was the bench and LeBron James. You know what I mean? And they still won 2 games in the NBA Finals with that team. So, I mean, Oklahoma City, at this point, you're sitting there looking at it. You don't want to say they can't win together, Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant. But
I gotta say, man, I don't see them winning a championship on the same team.
Who knows, man? We have
and it's sad too because you want to see them win together.
You do want to see them win together. Like that's an exciting team to watch.
It is.
That before Golden State became Golden State, the Oklahoma City Thunder was the most exciting team to watch in basketball.
I mean, their crowd was live and everything. Exactly. Oklahoma City had the best crowd until Oracle Arena came up with Golden State. But I mean, we'll have to wait and see with those guys because I mean, let's see if they can turn it around because I think we got what left. We got like 16 games left in the season now at this point. So who knows? Wait, they're 44-22. So
hopefully they can be positive.
They got 44-22. They got so that's 66 games.
Struggling in 16 games.
Yeah, 16 games. Oh, I was right. Yeah, 16 games. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, man, we'll have to wait and see with Oklahoma City. But go on to our last topic.